exactly what it sounds. We all already knew he was going to opt out.
Right.
The question is, when after he opts out, will he end up re-signing with the Lakers? Brew, do you think there is any chance LeBron is leaving Los Angeles?
I won't say none, but I think 2%. I think it's small. But I will, and the reason I go 2%, maybe I should go a little higher. And LeBron, I covered a lot of his free agencies. Mm-hmm. He always plays it close to the vest. Yeah. All right, so no matter what, and that's why, like when Cleveland, and that was his first one, or first one when he left, he did not. They weren't sure. Does LeBron still want Mike Brown? Does he want Mike Brown fired? They got no word from LeBron. All right, he just stayed out of it, and I think that's what he did with this. But he is, like, even when he's texting with Dan Hurley, he's saying, if I'm there. So that makes you think, are the wheels turning in his head? And I'll say this, we know he's not going to Phoenix. Rich Paul is on the record. He's not going to Phoenix for the minimum.
Yeah.
Probably not going anywhere for the minimum.
Well, right. And that takes out almost all the contenders, almost all of them, all right? You got Philly, which has the cap room, makes great sense basketball-wise.
Yeah.
All right? But I don't see that necessarily happening. Then I'm going to throw out a few other teams. Miami, I don't think they have the trade. They'd have to make a trade. Yeah. I don't think they have the pieces, all right, because they'd have to give up a lot of their pieces that LeBron would want to play with. Cleveland has the pieces because Darius Garland. The Knicks is the one to me, because if LeBron wants to really make a splash, and look, we know he cares about the GOAT conversation. Course, he can say he doesn't, but he cares about it.
This week with that fraudulent Defensive Player of the Year award being taken from Michael Jordan.
I'm not sure. I still got to look through the film.
I was telling you.
I'll choose my sources.
The door's a little more wide open, but go ahead.
But look, real talk. LeBron's, now forget all, some players were with Derek Jeter, with one team their whole career, Kobe Bryant.
That ain't Bron.
That's not Bron. He's been around. Lean into it if you want. And if he went to New York, you lead if you won a championship there, 4 championships for 4 different teams, and you would all of a sudden, if you lead New York to the first title in 50-some-odd years, you got the New York media on your side in the GOAT debate.
Absolutely.
And so if he wants to do this, and there are trades that make sense for the Lakers.
Right. So there's
Julius Randle and whoever,
there's
Josh
trades
Hart, Mitchell Robinson.
You wouldn't necessarily have to give up. If LeBron, like you said, Miami, do they have it? If LeBron's threatening to leave for nothing, then all of a sudden it doesn't really have to be a fair one-for-one trade.
But you get 40 cents on the dollar instead of the whole thing just to get something instead of nothing. I mean, I think he's going back to L.A., but if he does go back to L.A., you said it's 2% that he leaves. Exactly. He's not winning.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's probably 2% that they win a title in L.A. I know the odds would say it's a little bit better than that.
Not much. They're 40-1.
But yeah, not much. So that's the part that'll make that interesting of, he's choosing, for whatever reason, happiness, weather, family, but it won't be a basketball reason.
So I'm just going to make, I think, a pretty common sense observation. There's a reason he has not publicly committed. And it is the only logical reason is trying to leverage to make sure the Lakers are making moves that show they have the urgency that he has. Well, no moves have yet been made, right? Now they haven't had an opportunity to yet other than the head coach search, which I think even if LeBron's fine with JJ, they kind of botched because they didn't get the guy they initially wanted. So whatever their first move of the offseason was, let's just say it didn't go swimmingly. The fact, until he publicly commits, that to me, if he's like, man, I hope we trade for a third star, whether that's smart or not. I hope that we, do this with our draft pick. I hope we bring these players back. If the reason he is not publicly committed is because there are things he wants the Lakers to do, then to me, logic only says if they don't do those things, he could leave. And I think that this idea that now that they've hired JJ, he's lock and stock back, he could just tell us. And it's not like they're going to lowball him on the contract. Right. Like, the leverage isn't about money. The leverage is about moves. So I think it's more than 2%. I don't think it's 20%, but I think it's more than 2%.
And look, if he were to leave, everybody's like, well, J.J. Redick, how would he feel? I know he wants to coach LeBron.
It would
but
probably
it wouldn't
be a little relief.
Right. I mean, seriously, it wouldn't be championship or bust.
Right. For JJ's long-term coaching prospects, it wouldn't be the worst thing to not have
It'd be
all
pretty
those
embarrassing for the Lakers.
It'd be unbelievable. JJ's the coach, Bronny's their second-round pick, and LeBron's playing in New York.
Be ridiculous.
Coming up next.
And Ram trucks built to serve.
Live from New York, it's the show that's wondering if Aaron Rodgers and Kevin Wildes are actually on vacation together. It's first things first. JJ Redick is the new coach of the Lakers. Does that mean he actually is going to get to coach LeBron James? We'll discuss. Also, the latest person to make excuses for Aaron Rodgers is his boss, I guess. We'll get into it. And finally, the Cowboys, famously waiting for more leaves to fall, might be realizing all of the NFL's leaves have fallen except for the ones in the greater Dallas-Fort Worth area. Why haven't the Cowboys paid Dak yet? I am Nick Wright, in for Kevin Wildes, but I'm also always here. Danny Parkins is here as well. Chris Broussard for the Cowboys topic. Danny, look down. Is there an F card sit by his feet? Do you have the F card ready?
They would get an F for their offseason.
Okay. All right. But we will start somewhere a little more optimistic. Parade day in Boston. That means duck boats, awesome accents, and potentially setting the world record for usage of SPF 100. But before the parade, the Celtics gathered at TD Garden. Jaylen Brown says he doesn't really care what people think about their road to a title. Take a listen.
How could they say that it was an easy road when 9 out of 13 people picked the Dallas Mavericks to beat you guys? I don't understand that.
Make it make sense, Cal.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Make it make sense. You know, I ain't really got a comment. We here.
Well, I'll help you out, Jalen. It actually makes perfect sense. They were saying your road to the finals was easy, which is why they then picked against you in the finals. I hope that clears it up. However, defending champs since the Steph KD Warriors, not only have none of them repeated, none of them made a finals, none of them have even made a conference finals. So, Brew, do you believe a repeat is on the board for Boston?
It's definitely on the board. I mean, like possible, and I don't mean in that sense, but it is absolutely on the board. If people want to have them as the favorites, fine. They should be one of the favorites, there's no doubt. Because, one, when you look at their age, all right, and Tatum is 26, Brown is 27. I mean, they are really maybe just beginning their prime. So you have to look at that. Secondly, the way that, yes, they had the easiest road we can remember to the finals. But still, they dismantled the Mavericks, who had gone through the Western Conference and had a tough road to the finals and beat them in 5.
And if I can add, even though the Mavs were a 5 seed, the Mavs post-trade deadline had the record and the numbers of an elite team. So I don't think it'd be fair for anyone to say their finals matchup was an easy one. They just made it look easy with how well they played.
No, so there's that, and then they should be better. Now, look, in fairness, I expected this type of leap from Anthony Davis from when he won that championship in the bubble. I said, here comes the monkey's off his back. He is going to be killing the league, and he never really took that step. But I do think Brown and Tatum, just as a team, they should be more confident because you've gotten it done. And there is a monkey off your back to some degree, but at the same time, a nice chip still on the shoulder. Because there are enough doubters and naysayers out there where I don't think they come into next season complacent, feeling like we've answered all the questions. Tatum still has doubters. As a team, they still have doubters. I mean, talking about how easy the road was. And they're a tough matchup, not for everybody in the West. Like OKC getting Caruso yesterday. I thought that was a great move for them. Giddey didn't give them much in the playoffs. So they'll be better. Obviously, Denver, Minnesota, Dallas. I think all those teams will be better. But there's still a tough matchup for Dallas. They're a tough matchup, I think, for Minnesota because Gobert and Towns have to get out on the floor and guard. Now, and Dallas, I said tough matchup for them. Denver would be tough. OKC, I think, matches up well with them. But they've got a chance. I am not picking them to repeat. I think we're in an era where it is parity, and I think the other teams, like I said, are going to get better. So I'm not picking it, but absolutely on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think great minds here, because I'm with you. They deserve to be the favorite, and it's not just Tatum and Brown's age, though obviously as the all-NBA caliber players and the superstars, those are the ones that we should focus on, 26, 27 years old. Derek White, he's not 30. Kristaps, he's not 30. Drew Holiday, he's 34.